How's up, Facebook? Gotta just make sure it's on. I don't know. I don't know if it's working. I think it is. I think it's working. So I've been home for a week now, and it's been 2 weeks since I had my open heart. And if you're asking me how I'm doing, my genuine answer would be surprisingly good. Um, they told me going into the surgery that it was going to be harder. It was going to be more painful, and that was really hard for me. The months leading up was to just get my mind around, like, the first time I had heart surgery, it kind of redefined my understanding of pain. And so for them to tell me, like, it's going to hurt more, I was not ready for that. Um, so I will tell you right off the bat that it is hurting way less, and I've had almost no pain. I'm I'm so appreciative. I don't know what they did differently. That'll be one of my questions when I meet with the surgeons. What did you do differently? But I obviously believe in the power of prayer, and I thank you for those of you who have prayed for my mental health and my physical health and recovery. Um, Everly, can you go back into your room, please? I'm talking to my friends on Facebook. Okay, close the door, please. So it's it's been a week of recovery and ups and downs, hills and valleys. My biggest problem has not been pain. My biggest problem has been my body temperature. And I obviously am not a doctor, but my thought is my circulation really isn't that good. My core will warm up, but my hands and my feet get freezing. So you can often find me shivering under a blanket or like under four blankets and sweaters and a jacket. So once I lose my temperature, it's really really hard to get it back. So yeah, kind of show you some stuff. This picture you see here is me leaving, and that was really just a really cool thing. One of my big problems after my first surgery was I really really struggled some days with pain, and I would sit in our couch, and I wouldn't be able to get up for uh, for a long time. Even though like my painkillers would be like that close, um, I wouldn't be able to get them. And so it was really neat. As after my Facebook Live, I mentioned that we were looking into the sit to stand recliner, and my coworkers from Michael Jean Public School um, blew my mind, put their money together, and got me this recliner. Just rented it, um, but yeah. So I've pretty much spent this whole week on this recliner, and it's been super helpful. Uh, Even just like the adjustment from like here to here is a lot of effort, and um, it's exhausting. And I don't know. It sounds. I guess I sound pathetic, but when I was sitting here, I waited a day without this before this, and that day, man, like I would slouch a little bit, and then to get up, it was just it was tiring just to readjust to sit up just a little bit. And so even like even today, just being laying down and then be like, I want to sit up just a bit, and then pressing the button and then sitting up has been a huge blessing, and I really appreciate that. This recliner. Now, this is a cool feature. It brings me all the way to standing, um, and because my pain has been so good, I haven't needed this as much. And so I know, like, any of my nurses watching are laughing at me. But yeah, this is a kind of bit of a blessing, is that it does stand me up. Uh, I haven't needed it as much, but what I realized was the effort to stand was costing me a lot of energy. So, like, let's say I have to get up to go to the bathroom. Um, the walk to the bathroom and then back, um, it honestly felt like I just ran or jogged for like 20, 30 minutes. I was out of breath. I was gasping for air and then need to lay down for a bit. So uh, I just kind of told myself, hey, I have the sit to stand. Let's go ahead and use it. And so um, brought myself up, and yeah, it's really just made my life so much easier, and I'm so grateful and appreciative to everybody who made that happen for me. So thank you so much. If you're wondering what I do during my days, I sit here. um, I have a walking program. So the first day home, I had to go for like 9 5-minute walks, and then the next day was 9 6-minute walks, and then 7-minute walks, and then 8-minute walks, and then 9 10 11. So I think we're at about 16 or 17 minutes, and my stamina has really changed. This time last week, I couldn't do this because I just didn't have the stamina. Um, I look alive and I sound normal, but I was just exhausted, and I was shivering all the time. So that kind of took a lot out of my body. So yeah, I've come a long way, but there's still good days and there's bad days. Yesterday was a little bit rough. I ended up going to sleep around like 7:30 or something. So you know, everybody who's watching is like, well, just trust your body, follow your body, and that's what I've been doing, is just kind of letting my body lead. Um, um, in terms of family, Kirby has been doing amazing, taking care of myself, Everly, and Paxton. My family has been super helpful, super clutch. A little bit different this time. My mom was working full time on my last surgery, and this time she's working a different flexible hours, and so she comes now in the mornings and helps get the kids ready for school, gives them breakfast, all the things that I would used to do, and then takes them to school, and then takes me to get my blood taken, or takes me to go to a doctor's appointment, or takes me for walks. Excuse me. So my mom's been super helpful. Amy and Yanni, my sister and brother-in-law, have been super helpful, taking me places. My dad, so selfless. Like, they're just giving so much of their time just to make Kirby's life easier, because I can't make her life easier. I'm trying. We got a day, a couple of days I've been able to help with bedtime. I plopped down in the recliner, and then we put Paxton next to me, sitting on the couch, and then I was able to do his bottle. So that was really special, get some time with him. And then he was able to climb into his big boy bed, and then hold my hand from my recliner. So that was really special. Um, yeah, uh, I'm on a lot of medication. I think I take 9 pills in the morning, and then it's kind of come down. It was like 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner, and then 2 at night. In terms of painkillers, I have not taken any of the high level painkillers, and it's not because I'm trying to be a hero. I just haven't needed it. I'm so grateful. I praise God. I said thank you that, like, my pain has been so under control. Um, my chest feels like, it feels like week 6 of my last surgery. Like, it just feels tighter. It feels more together. Um, it just doesn't feel as fragile. I'm less scared of sneezing. I've been I don't know if you saw in the pictures. I had asked before my surgery for a heart pillow, and I ended up getting 2 heart pillows, and I've lived with those things. Now it's been awesome because I have one upstairs and I have one downstairs. Um, Give them a tight hug, or it goes behind my head. Those have been super helpful. So, um, yeah, super excited to say that my pain is under control. I haven't taken any of the crazy painkillers. I do take 2 Tylenol. That's it, in the morning, and 2 Tylenol at night. More preventative than anything. Um, it's been unreal. We're not really good at accepting help, and it's been a real just letting people bless us and take care of us. So many people have brought by meals, that meal train. Thank you so much. That really helps us. It helps Kirby because she doesn't have to pick up both kids. Normally I do pick up from daycare and from school, or Kirby will do one kid and I'll do the other. And then she doesn't have to kind of balance the kids and all that. So thank you to all of you who've been giving food. Um, Again, food is kind of one of my biggest obstacles. Um, like I just crave a bowl of cereal. You guys know I love cereal. I crave pizza. I love pizza. Um, but I have to be so aware of my sodium intake. And Kirby has done so much research. She has emptied our fridge, emptied our cupboards. She has gone and some of you have given us money, and we're just so appreciative. Part of what we used that money for was actually stocking our cupboards with low sodium items that would kind of replace some of my favorites. So, like last heart surgery, I lost about 30 pounds, and at this point, I think I've lost about 12, 13 pounds, but I'm right where they want me to be. So hopefully, ideally, if we can manage this sodium diet and make it actually doable, that I'll be better in the long run. It's funny. Right now, I can feel my chest beating. I wish I could show you, but I can physically feel it. That's just part of the recovery. But if you sit next to me, you can actually hear my valve now because it's a plastic valve. So every time it closes, it clicks. And so some of you might find it annoying. Some of you might find it cool. But I'll try this. But basically, I took my phone and I held it up to my chest and I recorded it. So I'll see if you can hear it. I don't know. Let me know in the chat if you can hear it. So if you're sitting next to me and everything's quiet, you can actually hear me ticking. I'm gonna suck at hide and seek. Yes, it will give me away. I was driving to the home from the lab, and my brother-in-law, he was like, "Something dripping in my car." I was like, "No, that's my heart." So yeah, it's just a little clicking. Some people ask what do I hear, and my best description, because I don't hear what that sounds like. I don't hear it. I hear it. If you know Pop Rocks, if you ever had Pop Rocks and you put them in your mouth, and then you just like close your mouth and you hear that like snap, 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 snap. When it's a quiet moment, that's what I hear. So I think it's kind of cool. The drummer in me was hoping that it would be like a regular tempo, so it'd be like just something that I could keep time to. But the drummer in me also hears that it is off tempo and it is not normal, so that kind of throws me off. It's kind of funny. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. That's my heartbeat. I have a young doctor now. I just changed to a young doctor, and she listened to it for the first time in her stethoscope, and her eyes just lit up. Like, wow, that was so cool. So yeah. Something else that was cool was our puppy went to live with my in-laws for the week that I was in hospital, and then the first week that I was home when I was really weak. And so she came home this weekend, and she was so excited. There we go. So there's our puppy, Gemma. We got her April, I think. But she was so excited. The kids were so excited to see her. She was jumping up, and we were protecting me at all costs. You can see here my father-in-law was holding her so tight so that she would just be so gentle. What's been so special is that for those of you that have dogs, you know that they sense that like um, something's different, and so she can sense that something's different, and she's very protective of me now. She sits with me like all the time. She constantly checks on me when I go to the bathroom. She comes and sits right in front of me, and she like just throws up her paw and just is like, "I'm here with you," and it's just super cool. It's what I always pictured in having a dog, and it's just coming to life now. It's pretty neat. So that's neat. Um, yeah, my challenges, my body temperature, um, and then my stamina is just low. So every day I'm seeing a little bit more stamina. Today I was able to go to Canadian Tire and just walk the halls, walk the aisles. I didn't really need. I bought like one thing, but it was more just walking the halls of the aisleways and not being freezing cold. So um, yeah, so if you're like, Jared, want to hang out? Like that's the excitement that I bring. It's walking the halls of aisles of stores. Um, One of my biggest challenges last week was very mental, and it was the unsurety of my new reality. So my new reality is that I have this mechanical valve, and because it's mechanical and it's plastic, I have to be on this very aggressive blood thinner. And most people who are in healthcare, when they hear this blood thinner's name, they cringe and they're like, "Oh no!" So I have to take this blood thinner for the rest of my life. And I'm sure technology will change, and science and medicine will change. But basically, because of this, I have to keep my the thickness of my blood. I have to keep it at a certain thickness. If it's too thick, then um, my heart will clot. The blood will clot in my heart, and it will give me a heart attack. Okay, so here on this graph, you'll see. There it is. I have to keep my blood thickness. It's called my INR. So my INR levels have to stay between 2 and 3. If it comes into the one, like this is like the danger zone. This is like heart attack zone. And then up here is like super thin. So the higher you go, the thinner your blood is. And my big problem last week was just not knowing enough. So first off, I thought it was a scale of 1 to 5. Okay, so I thought you had to keep it in 2 and 3, and it was a scale of 1 to 5. So when I was discharged from the hospital, I was at a 3.0, and that's my take medication alarm. So I was at a 3.0. That's literally perfect, exactly where we wanted. And so what the hospital said was, okay, so since you're here, what we're going to do is prescribe this warfarin dosage. So I'm going to show this in green. So they prescribed my blood thinner medication at 4 milligrams. And they said, going home, take 4 milligrams today and take 4 milligrams tomorrow. So on the Monday, take 4 milligrams. And then they said, then meet with your doctor and let her set the new dosage. So on Monday, I called my doctor like 3 times, and the secretary was like, "Well, we're all fully booked. The soonest I can get you in is November 23rd." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. I literally have to meet with her today or tomorrow, like because my blood thickness levels can change like that, and like I need this, and I understand that you're busy, and I understand, um, but I need a little bit more than what you would normally give somebody. I don't have a cold. I have a heart problem." And and my mom was a secretary growing up, and I remember like my mom's job as a secretary is to protect the people that she answers the phone for. And so the secretary was trying to protect my doctor. She's a young mom, a young doctor, and so she was like, okay, 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 yeah, you do you. But unfortunately, I don't think she understood the severity of my case. So uh, what happened was on Tuesday, I ended up taking. We have this new machine called Check. So prick my finger and I get blood and I put it on this machine and it tells me the thickness of my blood, and it had shot up to 6.6. And instantly we just went into panic mode. We went into like super scared mode. Because first off, remember, I thought this was a scale of 1 to 5, and it was all of a sudden a 6.6. Text a couple people, and they're like, yeah, no, 6.6 is a legit score. It's not good. But here I am. I'm new to this, right? So as far as I'm concerned, like, I'm scared that, like, if I get a cut right now, my blood is so thin that, like, I go to the hospital. Like, if I just get a little nick, they had warned me, like, be careful when flossing, that you're not going to nick yourself because your blood will be thinner and it'll be harder to clot. So I was just scared, like actually scared. For those of you who know me, I don't really get scared a lot, and I've spent a lot of the last couple of months being, anxious about the surgery. But this was like a new fear. It was just like genuinely afraid for my life. And so on Tuesday, I called the doctor again, and the secretary, same thing, was like, "Sir, you're not more important than everyone else." And I was like, "I honestly don't think I'm more important, but I think my issue currently does take priority because I don't have a cold, like I have a heart issue." She said, "We can't help you. We can't help you." And I'm like, "Please just talk to her." And she said, "Okay, I'll talk to her. I'll call you back." She never called me back. So then I started calling around. Like, I called all these walk-ins. I was like, "Please, can somebody help me?" And the walk-in clinics are all like, it's because of COVID, it's all like call in first, call in. And so I was just like, I need help. Like, I don't need to call in and talk to 4 doctors. I need somebody to help me right now because I'm in trouble. Like, I'm genuinely, in my head, I'm in big trouble. So, like, for me, managing that fear, and I just felt so helpless. I called my cardiologist. For those of you that don't know, my cardiologist actually just passed away, very tragically. And so I don't have a cardiologist. And I'm in like limbo right now with the whole clinic and just kind of whoever could take me. And I said, "Can I just walk in and someone who's in the building can help me get this number right? Like, we need to fix this." And they said, "Sorry, sir, these are specialists." And I'm like, I was freaking out. And we were just really, really overwhelmed. Kirby, in her wisdom, called the hospital and spoke with somebody, a random nurse that picked up the phone from the floor that I had just been discharged from. And they're like, "Wow, that is not a good score." Like, that it went from 3.0 to 6.6. And so they told me, take 1 milligram and hopefully it'll come down. So I took 1 milligram on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, I was able to get a hold of my doctor. And basically, in talking to our doctor, we discovered that the secretary hadn't been passing her the messages. In fact, she hadn't even passed on the discharge from the hospital. So my doctor didn't even know I had the open heart surgery. So that was really kind of frustrating. But my doctor's been phenomenal. She's called me like every day, like 2 or 3 times a day. She's been so good. I appreciate everything that she's done for me. So she sent me to Life Labs, and sure enough, it came back at 5.5. That was crazy. Basically, I went to Life Labs, and there was like a lineup of like 15 people. But at this point, my doctor had pulled some strings, and I was able to skip the line. And I remember I stood in line for about 5 minutes, and I was gone. Like, I started to go into this, like, started to get dizzy, started to like, I need to pass out, like, got to be careful phase. So they took my blood, and my INR came back as 5.5. So the good news was it was going down. Bad news was it was still really, really scary high. So my doctor said, "Okay, let's skip the dosage." So I took 0. I took no warfarin that night. And on Thursday, we tested it, and it came back at 3.9. This is me testing on my own machine. A little like side note about this machine. I went to a farm. Like, I went to a whole ton of places. I even went to my local pharmacy, and the pharmacist is so nice, man. He's just such a nice guy. He sat with me, tried to help me learn how to do this self-check. And things I discovered, for those of you who don't know, I play a lot of guitar, And so when you play guitar, the tips of your fingers are hardened. And so we discovered that I can't actually get good blood samples from my left hand where I press down the strings. So I've discovered, because of my bad circulation, I have to warm my hand up for like 5 minutes. Then I have to massage it, and then it has to be my right hand. It was a gong show trying to figure out how to use this thing, but we finally got it under control. Figured out, hey, we are going down. This is good news. So my doctor said, let's take 2 milligrams and test it again. And Friday we tested it, and we were like back to 3.3. So I know that like the green is 2 to 3. Some doctors will say 2.5 to 3.5. So we felt a lot more comfortable being in the 3.3. Our kind of goal is to stay between 2.5 and 3. That's like our ultimate like sweet spot is between 2.5 and 3. So we were like, all right, seems to be happening. So we took another 2 milligrams Saturday. We took 4 Sunday. We took it again, and it had come down to 2.2. Over here, I didn't mention this. I actually went to Life Labs, and I took it myself, and they both came back as 3.3. So, because we wondered if this score was just wrong because my machine is like not right, but we discovered my machine is like quite accurate, right in line with every time I've gone to Life Labs. They've had the exact same numbers, so that's pretty cool. So on Sunday I got 2.2, and so we took another 4 milligrams, and then Monday I went to Life Labs and I took it myself, and I got 2.3. And then today I went for my first in-person appointment with my doctor. It's COVID. It's limited in person, and it was 2.8. And so this has been my roller coaster of last week. And part of why I didn't post last week was because this was really stressful. This really kind of was discouraging, and it was really scary for us, for me and for us, because just mostly the I don't know, and people not like taking us seriously, and people not like helping us. So once we got to Wednesday, and my doctor actually got my stuff, and she's been phenomenal. She called me like 2 or 3 times every day. I told her I don't want to be an annoying patient, but I feel like I am. But yeah, so we're getting this under control. Today I actually had a phone appointment with a specialist from UHN, which is the hospital, and they're going to kind of also follow this journey to make sure that we do this right, because it's a very serious medication and drug. It's very important that we do it right. We don't overdo it, and then we don't underdo it. So in terms of what I've learned is, first off, it's higher than 5. It can go, I think, up to 10. I still not sure. I don't want to find out. I hope this is the highest rating I'll ever have. It's really scary. The scariest time will be down here. If we get any lower than 1, that's like, uh-oh. Because up here, my blood is really thin, but down here is where like it puts me in trouble, like in terms of my heart doing things that will hurt itself. So this has been my last week in terms of why I haven't been posting. It was just fear. It was scared. Personally, like every day I've seen some serious growth, some serious development, less chills. I've seen more, like I've been able to do more for a little bit longer. But yeah, you'll still find me in my sit to stand. You'll still find me playing a lot of video games. I said to everybody, this has been a lot different than my first experience. My first experience was a lot more painful, and it was a lot more lonely. During COVID, and some of you are gonna laugh, but I started playing video games online, and I never played video games online before, and so I've been able to actually still talk to people daily and hang out with people playing video games, which I know some people think that's funny, but I don't feel like I'm alone all day, and that's huge. Yeah. So how am I doing? I'm doing surprisingly good. I'm once once we got this under control. Um, oops. Yeah, once we got this under control, it was just like this breath of fresh air. Once my doctor started like chatting with me, and I felt like she was then under control of me. I felt really good. I went for an appointment today, and she checked my blood pressure. She said it was perfect. She checked like she listened to my heart. She listened to my lungs, and her eyes were like, wow. She said, I wasn't expecting your lungs to sound this good. So that was really nice to hear. She said my INR is now in a good spot. She checked my weight. She said my weight is in a good spot. So a lot of things to be thankful and grateful for. Thank you to all of you who have contributed to making this not horrible journey. Thank you to those of you that have been so selfless and so amazing and kind to my family. It's meant the world to us. We were overwhelmed by your kindness, your generosity, your just selflessness. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Gotta make a heart joke. Wait. Oh, that was too loud. So yes, I'll wrap it up here. Unless you have any questions. If you do have questions, I see in the chat that the secretary got fired. No, but I think she got a strong talking to. My doctor was not happy. She understood like the danger that I was put into, and honestly, like I know so many secretaries, and they're so amazing, and it's part of their job is to protect the people that they answer the phone for. But it was kind of the wrong time, you know. wrong thing, wrong time. Peter says, I need a heated jacket. I literally just talked to someone, one of my neighbors walking his dog, and I was like, he was wearing a heated jacket, and I was like, that looks pretty cool. Yeah. So those of you who's joining, I see someone in the chat. Who was it? Aisha. Oh, the Twitter fonts. Said she could hear it. So I'll play it one more time. This is the audio of my heart beating. Yeah, super cool. So yeah, if you ever hang out with me, I'm not sensitive about it. So if you want to be like, yo, can I hear your heart? You just have to like stand next to me, and we have to kind of like stop, and like you know, like a jacket rustling, you won't hear it. So once it's quiet, then you'll hear it, and it's pretty cool. Everybody's heard it except my mom. My mom, I don't know if her ears are plugged, but she's like, I can't hear you tick. So yeah. With that said, yeah, it does sound like a drip. Yeah, Yanni thought it was like something was dripping in his car. So Peter, what size am I? Oh, I'm a large. I'm gonna show you this. Look at this. One of my friends, former coworker, secretary, made me this. This says original body, rebuilt engine, runs like a charm. We're working on the runs like a charm part. And then on the sleeve, you can't really see it. My lighting's too low. But it says hashtag pizza is great. Still can't believe I said that. That's so awesome. I'm proud of myself for saying that. But yeah, this is pretty neat. I was gonna wear it for this, and I was too cold, so it's a t-shirt. So yeah, shout out to Kayla. Thank you for that. Yeah, so that's it. If you have any questions, I'll take them, but like, I don't think people have questions. Thank you to everybody who's asked and asked, you know, how are you doing? Sent messages. A lot of people were like, I don't want to bug you, so I was messaging Kirby. Kirby's job's a lot harder than mine, so you can bug me rather than her. um, yeah, she's really working hard. Pray for Kirby. Pray for that she doesn't get burnt out. My family's doing everything that they can to like help her not burn out. But it's a big job to a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, you know. So yeah. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching, for caring, and Phil, let's just recognize how quick you popped up from your chair. Yes, yes, I can. I I could not last surgery pop up this quickly. Absolutely uh, important to note that. Um, After my first or second week, I was still like slow to get up. Took me a lot of energy. Had to overcome a lot of pain, um, and then a lot of dizziness. But I'm quite stable. So yeah, that's actually a good note there, Phil. Peter says, "Can you have cheesecake?" I don't know. And people ask you, "Can you have this? Can you have that?" And our answer usually is, "I don't know." Kirby pretty much has to pull apart all the ingredients of everything, and really has to see the sodium levels. Basically, I can have less sodium a day than I was having for like first helping of a meal pre-surgery. So it's kind of um, it's kind of a downer. But Kirby's been working really hard, researching a ton. Um, she like drove all the way to North Whitby to go to Farm Boy, and it's definitely more expensive there. To find like special salsa or special like chips or special popcorn, things that um, like normally just grab or whatever, and that I can actually eat. So yeah, I don't know. Depends on the ingredients. Um, I think I think I literally just asked her before this, so I would know. I think it's 2,000 milligrams of salt. 2,000 grams. I forget. I forget. She's gonna laugh at me. Per day. So you'd be surprised what things have sodium in it. My cereal that I love, I can't eat because it has so much sodium in it. So thank you, Doreen. I appreciate that. Yeah. I was just talking with, video chatting with my uncle Stavros too. Um, yeah, appreciate that. Yeah. Well, everybody, I'm going to go back to laying down and warming up under a blanket. Sharon says, I missed this live. Your INR is below 3, but it gone up. Yeah, I'll show you. So it was at 3 when I left the hospital. It spiked to 6.6, and then we had to react and respond and bring it back. And so now, the last 2 days, it was 2.2, 2.3, and 2.8. Yeah, so it's been that was a bit scary last week. So it just I said to my mom, the fear for me was that I didn't have control. Right, I am very much the person in my life where let me sit down again. I'm very self assured, right, and I would on a normal Jeremy would just walk into her office and be like, I need to see her right now. Like I'm that jerk, I guess. But I just didn't have the energy to do it. I didn't have the gumption in me. Like, couldn't even talk to her sternly over the phone. So it was just this vulnerability that like my life was in a secretary's hands, and I needed her to pass a message on, and it took her 3 days to do that. So, but shout out to my doctor. As soon as she got the message, she called me, and she's not stopped calling me. She's been phenomenal, and I'm super happy. So yes, thank you for watching. Thank you for loving me and for loving my family. Um, I I didn't share all these videos and share all this to be drama. Um, it's crazy because my pain and discomfort is going to be over in a couple of months. And there's so many people who watch this video who have you know told me get well soon and stuff, who have a greater battle than me, a longer term battle than me, and I recognize that. For me, sharing this was neat because I really got to see how a community can support someone, and I've just been so overwhelmed and gracious. It also, I plan to take all the stuff that I did share and put it together and help other patients. There's a gentleman on YouTube that I reached out to, excuse me, personally, because of his YouTube videos, and he helped me tremendously as I prepared for this. Brought me peace of mind, and I hope to do that too for future patients. I've already talked with people who are going to have the surgery, and so I'm glad that it's documented, and I will continue to share. But I won't share as much just because I try to be sensitive, right? That like I'm important in my own story, and I know so many of you love me and appreciate me, and consider me family, so I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm not trying to be drama. I'm not trying to be poor Jeremy, because it's not poor Jeremy. It is a very short term amount of pain. Oh, I didn't tell you this. One of the scariest moments of this whole thing, obviously, like being in the ICU, I was in there for a couple of days longer. Thanks, Shelva. The scariest moment was probably the drive home from the hospital after that I did that sign. And Kirby and I were reflecting on the journey, and there was a number of times where I went like down fast, and they had to pretty much bring me back to life. And the scariest moment was hearing Kirby retell this story, and like her sitting there holding my hand, watching my vitals just drop out, and her like getting the nurse, and then the nurse panicking and calling the team, and then the team running in and having to save my life. And again, my nurse friends be like, nah, it's nothing. We do it all the time. But for us, like that is a scary moment. But like I was laying in there, and Kirby said, how you doing? And I was like, I'm okay. And then I was like, no, actually, I'm not okay. I don't feel good. And she called the nurse. She looked at the sign at the screen, and she saw my blood pressure just going bop, 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 bop. She was like, it was almost like there's this beat that it was like just building, like drop the bass. We don't want to drop that bass. And so she called the nurse, and the nurse, this is my first night in the ICU, and the nurse was like, call the team. And a bunch of ICU nurses came in and were like, hey, give him this. And yeah, so obviously, like, it was scary in the moment, but obviously I just don't feel good, right? And so I'm kind of like, boom, I drop out, and that's my reality. So it was scarier hearing Kirby's reality of her watching me almost go, and then having to be brought back. So, and in that instance, they were, the ICU nurses are very ready for this. So they, started pushing things through my IV. They started doing other things. My pacemaker kind of got my heart back on pace. So yeah, that was like the scariest moment for me, was hearing Kirby retell me that story, and having to kind of imagine her perspective of maybe me going. So yes, thank you, Lori. Thank you for your help, Lori. I keep showing people this video. Lori was instrumental in making this happen. Yes. I can't play it. There it is. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I spend most of my days. Thank you to everyone. I'm going to actually sign off this time. And if you do have questions, feel free to hit me up, ask me. I might not respond right away because I'm tired or mentally out of it, but I'll get to it. All right. Thank you, everyone. I got to figure out how to turn this off.